We are recording on all fronts.
Alrighty then. How's it going?
It's going all right.
Yeah, happy Monday.
Exactly. This is the most relaxing Monday I've had in a very long time.
Really? Why is
Yep.
that?
Because I took off vacation, so I'm officially on holiday for the next week. And at the moment, my wife and kid are in Toronto.
I knew that was coming. I knew it. I didn't know the vacation was there, but I knew there was no kid around. That was I could feel it in the ease in your voice.
Yeah,
Something
the,
was
the the complete laziness and relaxation.
fantastic. Nice.
Yeah. What's
Uh,
what's bananas is I actually booked the time off thinking that I was gonna like have some time to sit and work on some personal projects, but it's like the first time in ages that I've had no one else around, so I've basically just wasted my day watching movies and playing video games.
yeah, I know what that's like. Well, I don't
Yeah.
honestly, but that's probably what I would do. I've had like one day to myself, I think. Actually, that's not true. I had two, three, two. When I started the
I've
new
had
job, I had
two
to
days all to myself.
some little spat that was like weirdly like quiet and free, and it was yeah. I getting things done was not on my mind. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally gotcha. Totally gotcha. Well, what game?
I've been playing Final Fantasy Tactics, which has not been relaxing because I keep dying, and so now I'm grinding for levels.
Oh, sweet.
And I also played Final Fantasy 15: A King's Tale,
Okay.
which is I guess like a beat 'em up side-scrolling type game that the Square made. They released it along with the special edition of Final Fantasy 15, just
Okay.
as like a little pre-order bonus, and then I
Cash in
guess
on the characters and stuff.
yeah, and so it's made like in a retro, like 16-bit graphics or pixel art at least.
Oh, really?
And I don't know. I guess after a while they decided, hey, not just pre-order people should get this. Let's give it to free for anyone with a PS4 or Xbox One. So I got it for free and I downloaded it and I played it and it's garbage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a
Basically,
big beat 'em up fan to begin with, to be honest.
I liked the Turtles in Time one on the Super Nintendo, and I liked River City Ransom and Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but this just doesn't have anything value to it. I don't think.
Yeah, I think for me, like just the pure volume of beat 'em ups out there, like you name dropped a few good ones, but like when you've played
Yeah,
50 different beat 'em ups, even those good ones, it's like okay, I've seen this 40 times.
yeah,
I'm tired, And plus, I can't
yeah.
even get excited about new Final Fantasies. I don't know. Maybe if I sunk some time in, the appeal would come back. But yeah, I don't know. I just can't get excited these days for Final Fantasy.
I'm interested in checking out 15.
I've
You
heard good
know,
things actually.
the thing is that I was really excited when it was originally announced as like Final Fantasy 13 Versus or something back in like 2006 or 2005 or something.
Yeah,
Uh, and I just wore out my excitement a long time ago. So I've got a huge backlog, and I'm gonna wait until it's like $5 or $10 or something before I get around to buying it.
yeah,
Because I've waited this long for it. I can continue to wait.
yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
But anyway, yeah, don't even so if you were to go out today and buy yourself a PlayStation 4, don't do it just so that you can get the free beat 'em up side scroller game.
It's not too likely I'll go out and buy a PlayStation 4. Although I did, I forget if I mentioned this last time. I did acquire a Switch.
Oh yeah, no, you didn't mention.
So I don't actually have it yet.
Oh, so you
My
acquired something that you
intermediary,
didn't
yeah,
acquire.
my intermediary has it.
Okay.
So that the exchange still needs to happen, but I've secured one. So,
Okay.
um, I will keep you posted. Not a lot to say yet, but it's something I'm excited about. So that should be cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my first. I've finally joined the modern console generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some people might dispute that since it's the Nintendo entry, but either way, kind of excited about that. So see if
I've
I
been
could
kind
make
of
the time.
rolling around in my mind was whether or not to get one, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen in the next couple of years.
Well, if I had to like stand in line or just continually drop into Target or something to get one, I probably wouldn't have. Just where I
Mm.
kind of the opportunity to grab one fell into my lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know. I'm kind of not so interested in like standing in lines and stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Like a grumpy
Yeah, for
old
me,
guy.
it's just I don't know. I feel guilty about all the games that I already own, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stuff on Nintendo that I've kind of just been passing over for a few years now because I never got the Wii or the Wii U, and I feel like
Mm.
as my kid is starting to get older, maybe it's gonna be time to get back into Nintendo and get a nice family-friendly console.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I find um, the selection tends to be a little bit limited, and you're mostly the games you get excited about are mostly first party games. But
Yeah.
especially if you're into social gaming, like I mean, I've just always loved going to my friend's house, like in college, and just sitting down and playing Smash Brothers or even like Mario Party or
Mm.
these games that sitting at home alone would just not be exciting at all.
Yeah.
Are just great when you have a bunch of your ridiculous friends just bashing buttons around with, right?
Yep.
And Nintendo's always been the console, kind of our go-to console, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right. Speaking of consoles and games,
Dun, dun, dun.
what do you want to do? Do you want to get into what have we been playing, or do you want to get into a continuation of last episode of what are our favorite games of all time?
Well, ultimately, we're going to do both anyway, right? So
Yeah.
let's. I'll nail the game question. So I finished out Rockman X1 or Mega Man X or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized you play that game enough and you can just become a super master at it. Like I can probably
Yeah.
beat the
Yeah.
whole game easily and get everything without dying, which is not like this enormous boast. I'm pretty sure anyone could. But even like last time, I was commenting on how that spider was so annoying and Sigma was so hard.
Yeah.
The problem with this game, it goes into our death discussion actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the last save point, or it's not really a save point. The latest
Password.
stage that a password will bring you to is 4 full stages before the boss.
Yeah.
It's like that whole last stretch of stuff,
Yeah. I wasn't a
and
fan of
it's
that
super
feature.
frustrating because you finally you play for like 40 minutes and you get to the boss and he kills you, and that like okay, it's like essentially you're just punishing me by not giving me a password right to here, right? I mean, I can't
Yeah.
even practice this boss. It just sucks, right? So I played it a few times to get to the boss, and but after a while, it's just like okay, this is nothing's any problem. Got mastered the spider, mastered everything, and the boss once you figure that out, even Sigma's
Yeah.
not super crazy hard. So yeah, that's done. So I just went right on to Rockman X2. Again, I'm kind of revisiting all these games. I think I might just go through the whole series. It's kind of fun. So kill all the hunters or whatever they're called. The 8 bosses and the 3. I don't know if you remember X2. There's like the 3. I can't remember what they're called already.
Mavericks.
Is that what they call them? They call them different things in Japanese, I think. In English, I think they're Mavericks, and in Japanese they're irregulars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so then I think you're a Maverick hunter, is that right? In the English
Yeah.
one, and in the Japanese you're
An irregular hunter.
irregular hunter. But then these 3 guys are I forget what they're called, the
The-
regular hunters or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, killed everybody, and I just got to the that last stretch on your way to the final boss, but I'm missing a couple heart containers and stuff. So I suspect that'll be wrapped up quickly, and then on to X3.
Nice.
But, yeah.
X3 I remember really liking.
X3 I liked. X2 is probably of the Super Nintendo ones my least favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's just so much like the first one or something, and like it's cool that you get the helmet attachment, but where you can like now search for hidden stuff, and that was kind of interesting, I guess. But I found it. I don't know. Like my memories of this one, I immediately remembered like just using the helmet everywhere and just slowly going through levels looking for stuff and not really having a good time with
Right.
it. I almost prefer the first one where stuff is just hidden, and if you can't find it, well, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like in the second one where you could like slide in the air. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, in that case, you need to pick up Mighty Number 9.
Well, okay then. I believe I've already picked it up and played it for 5 minutes. I need to actually maybe flesh that out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to dash all the time in that. I forget what exactly the quote was from the ad, but if you go back and watch the ad, it's all about dashing.
Well, that's kind of isn't that wasn't that a complaint a lot of people had?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
just end up dashing through levels because you get more of a bonus or something when you finish it quickly. So then that's what the game becomes about, and no one liked that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I might eventually get to that one. Maybe after I go through all of X, I'll get to that one. I still haven't beaten Mega Man 10. I beat 1 through
No.
9, and
Yeah.
I got to like the end of 10, and I just never beat it. So I'll have to go back and nail that one too.
Did you see? I'm trying to remember what it's called right now, but there's a Mega Man collection. Mega Man
I
collection.
Yeah, I have. So
Okay,
didn't
yeah.
they just release another one, Mega Man Revival or something? I don't know, but
Well, they just announced the Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, which is going to have Mega
yeah,
Man
that's it.
7, 8, 9, 10.
7 and 8 are awful, and 9 and 10 are just like Mega Man 1 done well, kind of, or 2, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if I can get too excited for that collection. I did enjoy 9 and 10.
Yeah, I can't get excited for that particular collection, and I already own them, so
Yeah,
there's really no point for me to pick up
ditto,
again and again and again.
ditto, ditto. Uh, oh man, what was I gonna say? Something. Oh yeah, the Mega Man collections, collection and the X collection. I
Yeah,
have them, but I have them for GameCube. And
yeah.
while I love GameCube,
I
that
hate the
bloody
controller.
controller, man, it just was made to be miserable with Mega Man games. It just was
Yeah,
made to be like impossible. I just it'll drive you
yeah,
crazy. So yeah, it's almost like I would infinitely prefer to pop in the like whatever, just Super Nintendo One or original Nintendo and play with those original controllers
yeah.
like 1,000 times over. It's yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting the Mega Man collection for PS2, and it played fine on that, but the Mega Man X collection I have on GameCube, and yeah, it's like
Oh,
it's brutal.
intolerable.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
playing through X1 on that, and then I just never bothered to pick up the others because it was so painful on that
Yeah,
controller.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, shall we get on to part two of favorite games for console?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Get to it.
Okay, let's see. What was next?
Okay,
I'm looking at
so
the.
last time we wrapped up on the 16-bit era, I believe. We took a
Yes.
look at the NES, the Game Boy, Genesis, and SNES, and now I'm gonna steer us into the CD era.
Dun, 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 dun.
So when I first moved from Amherst to Truro in '95.
The city, yeah.
Yeah, the moved from the one city to another big city. Uh, we ended up renting during that first March break that I was there, the 3DO.
That's impressive. You were probably one of very few who got that pleasure.
Yeah, rented the 3DO back in 1995, and with it, I believe we got at least 2 games. So my my
Extensive experience.
extensive experience is not that extensive. I played Dragon's Lair, which is
Oh,
one of the worst games I've ever played on any console ever, and I will never understand how anyone enjoyed that.
it's intolerable. Yes.
Uh, so that's obviously not my favorite game. And then the other game that I played is actually turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time.
Wow.
Road Rash 3D on the 3DO. Absolutely amazing game. It was a bike racing game where you get to
Okay.
use like nightsticks and nunchucks and just your fists and stuff to beat up the other racers. It was unfortunately only one player. Um, so I had to take turns with my buddy who was over that March break to play with him. Um, but I remember having a blast with that because, like, the whole point of it is combat, except there were police officers in it too, and they were like undefeatable. You could not beat them up with weapons. So if you got them on you, you were pretty much screwed. Except if you made them crash into a building, then they would die.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, Road Rash 3D on the 3DO, absolutely an amazing game.
Um, I have very little to say about the system. I kind of pride myself on all this retro junk I collect and stuff, but it just wasn't part of my growing up. I never played it. Interestingly, or kind of ridiculously, maybe I do have one because I found one in a store one time, and it was shrink wrapped and in beautiful condition. I thought 3DO, wow, I'm gonna pick that up. And I just could never bring myself to unwrap it. It's just in such pristine condition. So maybe someday I'll buy a second one, which is totally ridiculous, and play some games. In the meantime, it sits on my shelf and it looks pretty. Take that thought to bed with you or whatever. But yeah. No comment on 3DO.
Right.
I did see that the list we have here is missing one system, which of course no one in the West really played, but the TurboGrafx or PC Engine in Japan.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of games or a bunch of different systems that we're obviously going to skip because both of us have not played them. But I'm guessing you have played that one.
I have, yes, definitely. I mean, you could comment on the same games. Clearly, like kind of the reason I guess to pick up the system is to grab the Castlevania game on it. I think you've played that one, right?
Is that the Dracula X?
Yes, Rondo of Blood, so people say.
Yeah. So I never played the TurboGrafx, but I did get that one on the PSP.
PSP, yeah. Did you play through the remake or the original?
Both.
Like really? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. I really liked that game. I liked the soundtrack. I mean, it was classic Castlevania. Like it wasn't as groundbreaking as say Symphony of the Night. Although it was a direct prequel, which is interesting because I mean, so many people played Symphony of the Night, right?
Yeah. And not only is it a direct prequel, but like the very first stage in Symphony of the Night is supposedly the end of that game, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I'll throw that out there. That was a lot of fun. I had another game in my mind which I forgot. Great, but it had a lot of. I know the system just had a lot of Hudson games, so like just Adventure Island and those things, Bomberman and stuff. The Bomberman game on the system was also a lot of fun. But I mean, I don't know. I don't find Bomberman games vary that much. So the Saturn Bomberman was also great. So anyway, yeah. What's next? Sega Saturn, I believe.
Sega Saturn is next. Yeah.
Ooh,
So I guess we've got the reverse situation here. I played some 3DO and you hadn't, but I've literally never touched a Sega Saturn.
Oh, really? I really, really like Sega Saturn. I do recognize that it is an inferior system to the PlayStation, which was its direct competitor, direct contemporary competitor. But I mean, I don't know. Kind of historically, it's like it felt like the GameCube in a sense. It's like Sega's quirky entry that has all its own stuff on it and that a lot of fun and it's cool, but everyone played the other system, So Sega Saturn, the wicked game for me is Radiant Silvergun. It's a wicked shooter. I believe in the West everyone's played Ikaruga. Are you aware of that one?
I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
Well, it's a bullet hell game. Radiant Silvergun kind of started the bullet hell craze. I think I could be wrong on that. Maybe there's like some arcade games that did that first or something. But it's a game by Treasure, which is a really cool company.
I mean, I kind of consider even like Gradius and that like the same genre.
Well, it's definitely I mean, when people say bullet hell, it's really like I mean, like
that
this
much worse.
Game. You should play Ikaruga and you'll understand. It's like literally, I couldn't convince anyone it's a different genre, but like it's almost like, when we were kids, they had those popular like those boards that were mazes, and you had to like twist little things on the side, and it would change the orientation of the board, and the ball would roll around, and you couldn't fall in a hole. It's like that. Like you're just dodging infinitely. It's just a screen full of fairly slow-moving bullets that you have to maneuver around. It's quite different than Gradius, where I find you're on the attack more often.
Yeah.
But anyway, Radiant Silvergun is really cool. For anyone who has played Ikaruga, in Ikaruga you have two different weapons. It's actually a really cool concept as well, but it's like you have a white and black weapon, and you can switch between white mode and black mode, and every enemy is either white or whitish, I guess, or blackish. It's like a reddish black and a bluish white. But anyway, if you get hit by a bullet that's the same color as you, it restores your energy, and if it's the other color, you die. So you can flip back and forth. And likewise, like if you're in white mode, you shoot white bullets. So if you're fighting a black mode enemy, you have to switch to white mode to shoot him, to hit him and damage him, but then he's going to be shooting black bullets at you, so you have to switch back to defend. It's cool. Anyway, Radiant Silvergun is similar, but there's 5 weapons. And it's just a really fun game. I shouldn't go on and on about this one game. Another game I had here is Symphony of the Night. Obviously, it's on Sega Saturn and PlayStation. I think most of us played the PlayStation one, especially because I don't think the Saturn one was even released in the West. But the Saturn version is cool. It's inferior in some ways, but it's got a lot more stuff in it. And the packaging is like really super wicked cool. So the little things I care about. So those are my 2 games. A lot of people throw out Panzer Dragoon. I have not actually played
I've heard
it.
of that one, but
yeah, it's really popular for like, I don't know, people who love these obscure geek games. I do know someone who has it and won't stop talking about it. So it's definitely up there on my acquire and playlist. But a copy of it's like $150. So I don't know when that'll happen.
yeah.
Bam.
I can't remember. Was Panzer Dragoon the same world as Nier Automata?
I'm not sure. I would have to check. I think there's actually 2 Panzer Dragoon games too.
Yeah. I never ended up playing any of them, so I can't.
Well,
say.
they're rare. They're Sega Saturn.
I just searched for the 2, like Panzer Dragoon Nier Automata, and there's 33,000 results. So I think I'm right. I don't know.
Cool.
Anyway, so is that it for Sega Saturn?
That is. I could go on a little bit, but those are my favorite.
Well, segueing from Castlevania then, PlayStation 1. So
Castlevania.
So Symphony of the Night was an amazing game.
It was. It truly was.
For the time was the time was running out on the 2D side-scrolling games, and I think Castlevania Symphony of the Night was like one of the last great hurrahs for that genre.
Fair. I would say Game Boy Advance did a good job in re-establishing it as a legitimate genre, but I don't know. I don't know if there was any standouts, or maybe it was kind of like it was hard to get excited because they were the portable games, right?
Yeah.
So I do agree.
And I'll talk a bit about those a bit later when we get to the Game Boy Advance. But yeah, what you said with the Saturn, it was different. Like they had the ability for you to play as Maria in the Saturn version, and you didn't get to do that on PlayStation. It wasn't until they re-released that for the PSP that. And I don't even know if the PSP version itself does that, but when they released Rondo of Blood, and as a hidden extra inside Rondo of Blood, you could unlock Symphony of the Night
and Rondo of Blood originally, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first time I got to play as Maria, and I don't know, it was fun.
Yeah, it's cool. They also have a extra stage in the Saturn one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember getting into PlayStation 1 and just absolutely loving it. And looking back, I feel like so many of the games have aged so grossly. Like that that era of 3D graphics to me was painfully bad. But I still love a bunch of those games. I think it was a great system, just like the Super Nintendo for JRPGs.
Yep.
And obviously Final Fantasy VII was like groundbreaking for everyone in the West who had never played a Final Fantasy before, finally getting mainstream attention.
Yeah. I remember that game. I just couldn't believe it when it came out. It just looked so incredible to me. Like the start when he's like hopping off the train and stuff. Like now, of course, whatever. But like back then, it was just an incredible like. I don't know, the visuals and stuff. Like, I don't know, maybe I was just naive or something, but I just never thought a video game would get that far, like at the time, right?
Yeah. Uh, it was pretty amazing. I mean, we've talked about this before, but like when they had the cutscenes and stuff, like that was pretty cutting edge at the time. Um, I
The
don't know.
entire intro sequence I thought was just incredible at the time. Like there's that whole
Yeah,
video and the mute, like the na and then they zoom into the city and then you're
yeah,
fighting and then whatever and like you saw Eris. Everything was just crazy. Yeah.
yeah. That was one thing that like the music got to take a big leap forward too. Now that it was like CD quality stuff as opposed
Yeah, yeah.
to chip tunes.
I
Um,
think of all the different systems, the jump from Super Nintendo to PlayStation, or I guess 16-bit to 32-bit, was the most.
Drastic.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you went 2D to 3D. The graphics were suddenly so much more. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say better, but
Mm,
I don't know. They're achieving more, I guess. Like it just felt like the most, yeah, drastic change. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Final Fantasy VIII obviously not as good as Final Fantasy VII.
Come on, I was not even going to bring that up.
So one of my favorite games.
I'm not even. This is not a joke. I honestly had a dream the other night that I was playing that game and complaining as I played it. Like I had a dream that I was complaining about the game and playing it. So that means I'm remembering the game in my dream, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's we're gonna ignore that game. Um, one of my favorite games though for that system, which unfortunately is related to Final Fantasy VIII. I got into it because it had the demo of Final Fantasy VIII, but it ended up being one of my favorite games of all time. Is Brave Fencer
Oh well.
Musashi.
Cool.
I don't know too many people that have played that game, but
Are you sure? I know so many people that rented it to play the Final Fantasy VIII demo.
yeah, but then they didn't play the
They
actual
didn't
game.
play. To be fair, I played it, but I never like bought it or got insanely into it. I thought
I
it was
bought
okay.
it, but I've not got around to playing it since I bought it. I bought it on eBay in like 2009 and haven't had a chance to actually put it into the system and play
Nice.
it. But I loved that. It was like a Legend of Zelda game that had like a kind of quirky humor and storytelling, and I don't know. It was just a really fun game. There were a lot of games that I guess had been. I don't know if they were Saturn games or if they were Sega CD games or what, but like Grandia and a few others.
Right.
Um, so PlayStation for me was the introduction to a lot of those games.
Yeah. I think Grandia. I forget where it came from. It might have been Sega. Yeah, CD or Sega Saturn. Definitely Lunar was I
Yeah,
think Sega CD.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, is that your PlayStation list?
yeah. The Final Fantasy VII, Symphony of Night, and Brave Fencer. Those are the three that I'll call out as you need to play.
Cool. My list here is fairly big for PlayStation. Actually, I accidentally merged it with my Super Nintendo list. So there's a few games I probably forgot to mention for Super Nintendo. But anyway, for PlayStation, I don't know. I really, 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 really enjoyed Metal Gear Solid One. When
Yeah.
that came out, I was crazy for that game. I thought it was so much fun and just so exciting. And uh, the whole like the twist that happens in the story, I just found it so engaging. Like maybe if I played it now, I'd feel differently. I don't know, but because I haven't played it in a long time, but it just grabbed me. I just loved that game. That for PlayStation for memories and stuff, that's a big one for me. I'm actually surprised you didn't mention Final Fantasy Tactics. That
Well,
I
the reason I didn't is because I
You're playing
think
it
all
now.
around the PSP version is much better.
Really? Okay. Well, Final Fantasy Tactics for me was another game I was just crazy about. I actually I preferred it to Seven back in
Yeah.
the day. I also have Symphony of the Night. Have you played Valkyrie Profile?
No.
Oh, really cool game. Try it. Really, really cool. Really fun. It's kind of obscure and expensive. I think they re-released it on Xbox or something, so maybe that version is easier to find. I don't know. It might sound like a joke entry here, but I have
On
Bushido
the
Blade 1 and
PSP.
2. Have you played them? Yeah.
I think I played the first one.
Those
I
games
I
are
can't re- I
so
can't
ridiculous.
I can't remember. Is that like a fighting game where it's one hit kill?
Well, yeah, it's a fighting game with one-hit kills, and it's hilarious. Just like the kind of like kills you pull off, or the kind of fights that happen. I remember with a friend, we sat down one night and we were just going through our game collections and stuff. We pulled that out and we were like, "This game, man, let's just play this. It's gonna be hilarious." And whatever, we probably had a few drinks or something, and I just remember we played it till 5 a.m. It was just so much fun. It was like at the end, it was like because it keeps if you play on a two-player mode, it keeps your win-loss record.
Yeah.
It was like 200 to 300, like something crazy. We just played it and played it because it's just so much fun. It's just such a ridiculous game. And 1 and 2 are so similar but a little different. You could just kind of put them together as one set of games. So definitely, if someone is new to PlayStation, they have to play those games. They're just ridiculous. Yeah. And I also had Silent Hill 1. People laugh, but I found that game, even though it's now when you play it, it's all pixelated and not visually impressive perhaps.
Yeah.
I found it genuinely creepy. I thought that was a genuinely scary, creepy game. I found it way scarier than any of the Resident Evil games, or really any other game I can think of. Really just kind of gets to you, I thought, especially back at the time playing it. And finally, one obscure game that no one has played, I think, but there's a game called Tail Concerto. Heard of it?
I've heard of that.
Really cool game. It's obscure and weird, but it's a third-person game where you're like this. I think you were a fox or something in this like robot suit, and it was just kind of a just quirky adventure game. It was really really cool. It was a lot of fun.
It's got pretty good ratings.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
It's got
Yeah.
like 18.3 out of 20.
What 0.3?
18.3 out of 20.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, really, really fun game. It might have been, I forget who made it, Tecmo or something. Anyway, it was definitely
developers CyberConnect 2.
Okay, well, forget it then. If you ever get your hands on that one, highly recommended. Just kind of puzzly, quirky game. It was kind of cutesy a little bit, but not really. Like, it's not so serious. It's almost like Banjo-Kazooie kind of whimsicalness, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
CyberConnect 2, their first game was Tail Concerto, and then they did like all the dot hack games.
Okay.
And all the Naruto games. And
are they still around?
Yep, they've got. So they were just pulled off of the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's them. Okay.
Yeah, and in 2014 they released the Final Fantasy VII G-Bike game for Android and iOS.
Well, okay. Weird how things come together, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's amazing is we almost need to just spend like a whole day talking about nothing but PS1 games, because if you've got a PS3 or a PSP, or a PS2 or PS1, there's such a massive game library of great games that were on that system that are still accessible today.
Yeah. Really, any of these systems warrant the discussion, but yeah, PlayStation 1, I mean, the accessibility, I guess, is what you're getting at.
I guess, because I haven't gone to PS4 yet, so I forget that system's not backward compatible. But so for me, I'm like in a little micro renaissance right now where I've been picking up my PSP and playing games on that, because like I played Parasite Eve at the end of last year, and I've got I can't remember the name of it. Let me go look at my list of games that I want to play. Vagrant Story.
Oh, yeah. That's another good one.
Yeah. But
yeah, I'm sure I'm missing some here too. I mean, I can't really remember actually what I've even gone through and loved, but PlayStation 1 was definitely a lot of fun back in the day.
Yeah.
Cool, sir.
Okay, and so what do we have next on our menu?
Nintendo 64.
I never owned one of those,
I never owned one until like way, way, way later. I was so anti-Nintendo 64. I felt so betrayed by Nintendo that they didn't go with a PlayStation-style system. I felt so sad that Final Fantasy had left Nintendo in the dust and gone to this other company. Just everything about Nintendo 64 to me was like, ugh. And it was kind of, if you were like I found if you were at the time if you were a hardcore gamer and someone who had been playing games for a long time, you almost inevitably went PlayStation, but everyone else went Nintendo 64. So like all the people
Yeah.
were just kind of like games are fun, man, whatever. They went Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
But if you were almost like this, like almost like a game snob kind of person, which most people I hung out with were, and myself included, everybody got the PlayStation. So
Yeah.
I thought Nintendo 64 was like the baby system too. Like those people aren't even real gamers or whatever. So
Well, it was interesting, right? Because the N64 came out and it had all the marketing behind it. Of it's a 64-bit system. It's Nintendo. They're that alone are the two big things. And so it was cartridge, so everything was familiar. And it had great 3D graphics and these bright colors being advertised and stuff. But I think those of us who are in the know realize that the CD technology allowed for bigger games because you could have as many CDs as you wanted. So like Final Fantasy VII just couldn't exist on an N64.
which was kind of I think what clued a lot of people in to like whenever you saw at the time like these big like one-on-one kind of system comparisons, that's the like pivotal game everyone would bring up as like kind of why PlayStation wins that fight.
Yeah. So I had a neighbor who had an N64, and so we would play that very frequently. Like he would come over, he'd bring it over to my place, and we would play Mario Kart like every day after school. It started off with Super Nintendo, and then when he got his N64, it was Mario Kart 64. So I had a lot of experience with that and a lot of time in on GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
But the other games just didn't do it for me. I wasn't into Wave Race and Pilot Wings and all that stuff, and so it just it felt like a system that I played out of convenience because my neighbor had it. But then when Final Fantasy VII was released, that was like the pivotal moment where I was like, okay, I'm buying a console and it's going to be a PlayStation.
See ya, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, Nintendo 64 is, I'm almost certain my least favorite Nintendo system. I mean, I don't know. You have like the Virtual Boy, whatever, but like,
that doesn't exist.
yeah, it's just kind of a silly like mistake almost. Like, I mean, Nintendo 64 was a contender and it was their major flagship system. So, I mean, I don't know. I really didn't like it. And I thought like the graphics were like everything was so ugly. The polygons were so murky looking, and just everything. Even like PlayStation's like blocky, ugly polygons were like endearing to me a little bit. Like now
Yeah.
I look at them and I think, but Nintendo 64 is just so ugly, and now today even it's just so ugly. So,
That was something that was interesting because I remember at the time my older brother was like trying to convince me that Nintendo 64 had the better color palette, and
Ugh.
I didn't see it. It's like he didn't like PlayStation because everything was always so dark colored, whereas Nintendo was very vibrant. But to me, it's like those dark colors helps create moody atmospheres and stuff that
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing that on N64.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, Nintendo 64. Let me see. I had. I know everyone loves Zelda like so much. To
I
me,
hate
I'm.
it.
I don't. Well, okay. Well, I wouldn't say I hate it, but
Ocarina
certainly
of Time,
yeah.
I couldn't finish it. I didn't like
Not a
it.
fan. Okay, wow. I've never met someone else who's kind of in my camp here. Most people like go on and on and on about how it's their favorite game, favorite
Yeah.
Zelda, blah blah blah. I don't know. Maybe it was the hype or something. Like I was kind of late to the game on that particular Zelda because I was so anti N64. It
Yeah,
just
I never played it until I got it on my GameCube.
right. So kind of similar experience to me. It was just like whatever. The game's okay. Who cares? Like I mean, Nintendo. I felt like Nintendo 64 was a system that was invented to play Mario 64, and Mario 64 was an excellent game and a lot of fun, and I thought it was really well done, and it suited the hardware and everything was great. And then every deviation from that was just worse in some way. And Zelda, I don't know, it just felt weird to me. It was okay. It was a fun-ish game, even though I hated Majora's Mask, like least favorite game level hatred. But Ocarina of Time was just okay. it was just really just okay. So anyway, definitely Mario 64, and I also have Goemon 64. I don't know if you know that series, Goemon.
Yeah, I know of it.
Yeah, yeah. So the Nintendo 64 entry was a lot of fun actually. It felt like Mario 64 just with like a Goemon skin on it. But I mean, I don't know, it's fun. It was the same kind of game. I felt like every game on Nintendo 64 was kind of the same. There were some variant of Mario 64. And that one was a lot of fun. I never really got into Smash Brothers 64, and I never really got into Mario Kart 64 so much, to be
I played a
honest.
lot of Mario Kart 64.
I've played
And
like every Mario Kart except that one. I've played it, but I've like really played every Mario Kart except that one.
what's interesting is one of my friends has the Mario Kart 8, um, and it has some of the tracks on that from Mario Kart 64.
Right.
But I feel like they were way better in Mario Kart 64.
Same. It's so the DS Mario Kart has like all the old classic courses from the other games, and the Super Nintendo ones. I'm always like, oh, this was so good on Super Nintendo. What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah.
Yeah, well,
It,
they've adapted it to the new game system, but the original course wasn't designed with those new game elements in mind, so it just
yeah,
feels bland or like broken in some way, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah,
In the original Super Nintendo ones, you had the feather, right? So
yeah,
you could like take shortcuts here and there, and it was the same in the Rainbow Road on N64. Like I remember there was this. I think it's the I think it's the N64 one where there's this big jump that you can take, and basically skip half the track
yeah.
right off the start.
I feel like that. I think.
And then in Mario Kart 8, as soon as you attempt to do something like that, Lakitu immediately puts you right back on the track, and it's like,
So it's
oh,
literally broken.
yeah,
Bummer.
yeah.
Hmm.
All right, so we're cruising today. We've already done four systems here. So I think the last one we should do for the night is Game Boy Color.
Definitely, definitely. Game Boy Color, I will say, I think, is in the same way I look back very fondly on Super Nintendo and PlayStation. I get the same kind of feeling out of Game Boy Color, honestly. I think it's a system that is underappreciated, and there's just a lot of great games. There's a lot of great RPGs. The sound chip was cool, so I don't know. The games sound wonderful. They look cool. Some of them have kind of an ugly color palette, but I found when games were done well, they were done extremely well. And yeah, I'm a big Game Boy Color fan. But I'm going to give the most boring answer in the world. I'm going to say, for me, it's definitely the Game Boy Color Zelda games. Um, I mean, for a lot of people, those are probably the only games they even know. But honestly, just fantastic games. I think we talked previously, and you probably hadn't played them, if I remember correctly. Um,
No, I never played too many of them. I ended up getting a few different Game Boy uh, games like Metroid 2 and stuff, and I would play those on my not my Super Game Boy, but the whatever the Game Boy Player, the attachment that went on your GameCube.
yep.
Um, so that's like the experience that I have with playing
I
Game Boy
thought that was only for
games.
Game Boy Advance.
No, you could play original Game Boy games as well.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, I guess in my Nintendo DS as well, you could play those carts.
DS was definitely Advance only, not Color.
Uh,
Pretty
mm,
sure
I need
Advance
to
was.
look this up.
Uh
Can the
uh uh.
Nintendo DS or DS Lite play Game Boy games? They can play. Yes, they cannot play Game Boy. So yeah, so the now I need to double check with the Game Boy Player. Game Boy Player. So yeah, the DS cannot play original Game Boy and Game Boy Color games.
Yeah, I figured that, but I'm wondering if Game Boy Advance can.
You can play original Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games on the GameCube.
Crazy. Cool. Well,
And the Game
uh,
Boy Advance can also play the originals.
Yeah, I think I remember that. And then when the DS only played Advance, and the 3DS only plays DS, maybe, or
Yeah,
does it even? I don't remember.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't,
Yeah,
it doesn't play Advance.
yeah. Rocket. Okay, well, what's your favorite Game Boy Color game?
So I don't even really remember any.
No answer.
So I mean I remember them advertising the Zelda Oracle of Season, Oracle of Ages games.
Yeah.
And I never actually got around to playing them. So
Oh, it's a bummer. A lot of fun.
uh
They're like uh Link's Awakening, very very similar, but very cool. Like it's just kind of like a alternate Link's Awakening or Link's Awakening Gaiden or something kind of.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of fun.
yeah, I never ended up playing those.
Hmm. Well, uh, you have the rest of your life to try, I guess.
Ending on a climactic note.
Awesome. Hey, well, we nailed 5 systems. 6 if you include that little note on the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
Cool.
Uh yeah, so I think this I think last year was the first time I'd ever played Pokemon, which was original Game Boy.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
I remember the craze that happened back in the day, and I wasn't really part of it, but I did play it and enjoy it.
Well, there
That's
we go.
about. We're going on super anticlimactic this time. You know, I'm really tired today. It probably comes out in the way I'm presenting myself, but I'm just. Uh,
Yeah,
I
I'm
could
the
use a
same way.
vacation.
This is the most relaxed I've been in ages, and I'm like on the verge of just falling asleep as a result. So
Awesome, and that's why we have nothing to say about Game Boy Color.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
we don't have anything to say because it wasn't nearly as exciting as a PlayStation One.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Did you
Alrighty.
back in the day?
Hmm?
Did you have a Game Boy Color or like a Game Boy Pocket and all that jazz?
I had a Game Boy Color. I did not have a Pocket. My neighbors had a Pocket. Uh, wasn't there another one? Game Boy. Maybe
Uh,
it was just Game Boy Pocket. I thought there was another one. I have a Pocket now. I didn't then. Pocket's actually a really good system if you just want to play original Game Boy games. Um, I did have a Color, and I did have the 2 models of the Advance. Yeah, I think I had most of the Game Boys. I don't think there's any I skipped. Just the Pocket, which was effectively just an original Game Boy in a different form factor
hmm.
with a
The
much
one
better
thing
screen.
I was gonna add, which slipped my mind, is you had mentioned with the Game Boy Color that you liked the sound chip.
I really
I'm
liked all the Game Boy sound chips.
Well, I'm
Um,
actually gonna, because you mentioned the sound chip, I'm gonna include a link for this blog post because a number of years back I started getting into Little Sound DJ, which is a program for the Game Boy for writing chiptune music. And I've managed to find it and call up this website where you can listen to sound comparisons of the hardware for the Game Boy with the Pro Sound mod, the Game Boy
ooh.
Pocket, the Game Boy Pocket with the sound mod, the Game Boy with the light on and off, the Game Boy Color, the Advance SP with the light off, the
You're getting me excited. You send me this link too.
yeah, yeah. And so, of all of the different things, I remember listening to all this stuff very carefully before I made a decision of what I was going to buy. And to me, the hardware that sounds absolutely the best
Is
was
the
the
original.
original Game Boy.
Well, many people think that. So, I also love the original Game Boy. I haven't sat down and done the comparison. I just have fonder memories, perhaps, of Game Boy Color. But yes, I've heard that quite consistently, actually.
It's funny. Like you don't put much thought into it, but when you do actually hear all the different things sound back to back, it's like it's the identical sound, and yet there's less noise and I don't know. There's just a better sound to it on that original hardware. So I don't know. It's interesting because like I think about uh, like part of what's holding me off on getting a Switch right now is knowing that inevitably in a year or two that Nintendo's going to release a newer version of the Switch, and I don't know. I guess every system does that. Like the Sony when they released the PlayStation 3, the original one was backwards compatible with the PS2, and then when they released a new version, it wasn't. So it's like you get a cheaper, more accessible version whenever these companies release new stuff, and there may be new features, but inevitably there's going to be something different about the hardware that you may be missing out on as well.
You know, I wouldn't be well, I would be surprised. Of all the systems, though, I think Switch might be the one they don't do that. They'll probably do it, but I mean, Switch.
They'll
You know,
probably
a
do
lot of
something.
well, a lot of the Switch, yeah, they'll do something. But I mean, compared to pretty much every other system, like the Switch just has less. I don't know. It's like the form factor is kind of already just part of the way, like the appeal or something. Like it'd almost be a
Yeah.
different system with a different form factor and a different something about it.
I mean, you say that, but you look at the Nintendo DS and then the DS Lite. It's the exact same thing, but with a brighter screen, right? So,
That's
uh,
true.
so they could very easily do the same thing, where the maybe it's got a better because the resolution when you're plugged into a TV is different than when you're just holding the console itself in your hands, right? So they could fix that and then give it better battery life, and then you've got a completely new version.
Indeedo. Well, I'm like you, man. I'm a waiter, so
Yeah,
I this is like the one system I went out and bought. I think
yeah,
don't you have? Didn't I thought you had just bought like a PlayStation or Xbox or
yeah.
something?
I got the Xbox One in
Oh,
like November,
there you go.
and so far the only game I've played to completion on it was this Final Fantasy 15 garbage game.
Awesome.
It's because I worked on I worked on Gears of War 4 and I worked on Mass Effect Andromeda, and I felt like I should own a console that can play these games that I've worked on. So
Yeah.
and then I got a discount on it from work, so it seemed to make sense to me.
Cool.
And now I've actually got some games for it that I want to play, but we'll see. Even
They're
now that
down
I've
on
got
your
time,
list.
I don't have enough time.
Indeed. The eternal problem, right?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, as always, I have to go and take care of a kid now, so
All right.
perhaps we should scramble. All
All
right.
right.
Well, try and wake up for next time. We have a lot more systems to cover. I'm getting. I think as we go forward, it'll be less and less from me probably because I've just played a lot less games on these newer systems.
Yeah.
It's like 1995 is kind of my break point, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, enjoy your Monday. Enjoy your vacation, and till next time.
All right. Catch you later.
Cheers. Yeah. See ya.